Hey, what's going on? It's Adam. I'm just chilling here in my room. I recently got a new phone and I think the camera quality is fantastic. So I wanted to do a quick vlog type of video just because I don't have the correct parts to hook up my phone. So I just wanted to talk about being uncomfortable and how by being uncomfortable you will be taking the quickest route to ultimate happiness. So that is a really counterintuitive notion if I tell you all you have to do is put yourself in the most uncomfortable situations and automatically you will begin to feel more happiness in your life. That doesn't make any sense. But the truth is, your body as a human being and your mind is biologically evolved to feed off of uncomfortable situations and kind of take them as a sort of challenge for your own survival, and you will biologically feel more happiness and fulfillment in your life if you take the necessary steps to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, such as taking a freezing cold shower, for example. So when you jump into that cold shower, you are immediately shocked by the freezing cold temperature of the water on your skin, and you feel a quick shiver go up your spine, and immediately the first thing you want to do is get out of the shower because it freaking hurts and it's cold. But if you stay in that shower for 2 and 3 minutes, wash behind your ears and wash your greasy long hair, you will feel like $1,000,000 the second you step out of that shower and dry yourself off. You're gonna feel like Superman, and you're actually gonna feel you're gonna feel a little bit chilly at first, but after you get over that, you're gonna feel very clear in your mental thinking, and you're also going to feel very fulfilled, and you're going to feel like nothing can stop you in your life. And that cold shower represents all of the difficult situations in life that you try so hard to avoid. Because our society, if you haven't noticed yet, literally goes out of its way to make your life as easy and as cushy and comfortable as humanly possible. All of the technological advancements that we've made with science and with business and progress in our Western civilization has had the goal of making your life as easy and to take out as much challenge of your life that can possibly basically the goal of society is to make your life as easy and cushy as possible. So unfortunately, we don't realize that this is a serious problem, which is why in the West we have a depression epidemic, which means that a large percentage of our population is succumbing to depression, and this is because we put too much effort into making our life as comfortable as possible, and we don't realize that our psychology is actually made so that we need to have some kind of challenge in our life. Otherwise, we actually feel depressed and we feel like we're not accomplishing anything. So, the reason why you are biologically engineered to enjoy suffering, so for example, taking a cold shower, it's painful. It shocks your body, and it's kind of like a form of suffering. Sorry, I'm just trying to put my camera in a good spot here. You're biologically engineered to enjoy that because your body feels that you are overcoming adversity and you're accomplishing difficult tasks, and your brain releases chemicals in your brain that make you feel good and happy and fulfilled, so that you can continue to go out of your way to strive to push through more challenges, so that you can have all the best resources available to you in your life. So let's imagine a caveman. You live in a cave, and the cave is very dark and cold and wet. And it's winter outside, and you can hear the wind blowing, and it's snowy. And you're in your little caveman cave with maybe a few of your caveman relatives, and you guys realize that you're freezing cold. So what you have to do in this situation is to overcome the challenge of going out of your cave, braving the cold, which is extremely emotionally and physically challenging. And you have to go collect some firewood so that you can make a fire and not freeze to death. So you overcome that challenge. You chop down the firewood. Maybe you gotta kill a saber-toothed tiger in the meantime with your hatchet. And eventually you will get that firewood, go back to your cave, start a fire, and you're gonna feel amazing because you overcame that challenge of gathering that firewood, and now you're gonna feel so happy and fulfilled sitting in your little cave with your caveman buddies beside that warm fire, and it's gonna feel like the most satisfying thing in your entire life. Notice how our psychology is not meant to deal with a surplus of pleasure, which is what we have in our society. The best way I can explain it is we have a surplus of pleasure. There are too many different avenues that we can use to get a quick high. So for example, if I wanted to right now, I could watch 3 hours of TV after smoking a huge bong of weed. And then afterwards, I could watch a few hours of porn and play video games for the rest of the night while I was eating ice cream. And that's like a pleasure overload, right? And you may notice that you would feel, if you've ever done that before, which I have many times, and you may notice that you actually feel terrible after doing that. And in fact, you would feel a lot better if you went to the gym, which is difficult, took a cold shower, which is difficult, meditated for 1 hour, which is difficult, and maybe sat down and read some difficult material in some nonfiction book. And you would feel a lot more fulfilled and happy after doing that instead of doing the first situation. So this is a concept that the Buddha coined. It's called the middle way. You may have heard of this before. It's very important. The middle way is basically you're trying to take the middle path in between extreme suffering, so extreme asceticism. So that would be sleeping on a bed of nails and starving yourself to near death. That would be extreme suffering. And extreme pleasure, which is doing heroin while having sex with 10 women or men, right? So the middle way is taking the middle path in between those two extremes of your life And the Buddha found that this path is the path that will lead to the most happiness and fulfillment in your life. The problem is that you may think right now, as I say this, that, oh, Adam, I am taking the middle way. But if you live in a westernized civilization, you are actually not in the middle way. You are more towards the hedonistic, you're more towards the pleasure side, basically. Because we have all these privileges in our life and all these outlets that we can use to get a quick hit of pleasure, which is why we are so addicted to the internet and to junk food and to smoking and all these things. You're actually more towards the side of pleasure, and this is resulting in a lack of fulfillment and ultimate happiness that you're missing out in your life. So I'm going to move away from the window now. I'm actually going to tell you a quick story about my meditation retreat. Excuse me while I just stabilize the camera here. So I did two 5-day meditation retreats, and during both of them I was at somebody's house and I was meditating for 18 hours a day. And the only thing that I did for pleasure was eat food, but even the eating was in moderation because we had set meal times and I had to eat very slowly and mindfully and to enjoy every single bite of the food. And then the rest of the day was just sitting in meditation with my ass hurting. So you can imagine by the third or fourth day of this retreat, I would go outside and listen to the birds chirping and feel so happy and so satisfied with just the sound of the birds chirping, and I was almost in bliss. And that is the goal that you need to reach for your everyday life. And I am far from that goal, but by simplifying your life and by limiting the amount of empty pleasure activities that you do, you will slowly move towards this goal of having a simple lifestyle and having ultimate bliss when you go for a walk with your dog and smell the fresh air. So, to sum up, your psyche is not built to deal with extreme pleasure, which is why we see our society is in a never-ending cycle of chasing after material gains, and unfortunately, it will never satisfy us. The way to reach true satisfaction is to spend some time making yourself a little bit uncomfortable by taking a cold shower, working out at the gym, maybe eating some arugula, which does not taste very good, but after eating it 50 times, you can actually enjoy the terrible taste of a raw arugula leaf, and that's going to make you more satisfied when you eat a piece of chocolate because you're going to not be so accustomed to that high level of pleasure. Other ways you can make yourself a little bit uncomfortable are reading some books, meditating, and this is what is going to lead you to true fulfillment in your life, which is what you're currently missing. So remember to take the middle path. Currently, remember, you are a little bit more towards the side of extreme pleasure. So you're going to have to, hopefully this camera is stable. you're gonna have to stabilize the amount of camera shake. I mean, you're gonna have to stabilize the amount of pleasure and pain that you're having in your life, and you're gonna have to slowly reduce the amount of empty pleasure that you indulge in and replace it with more challenging and difficult activities. And overall, this is going to result in more fulfillment in your life, and you won't find yourself chasing empty satisfaction, such as going to parties with your friends, and then when you come back home and go to sleep and wake up the next day, you feel like shit. Instead, you'll meditate all night and then go to sleep early and wake up at 6 a.m. and listen to the birds chirping in the morning and start crying of joy and break down and like roll on your floor and melt them into the fabric of existence. So that's the ultimate goal. One day you'll get there if you take little steps towards putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry about the shaky vlog style camera. This is just kind of a spontaneous video for me to make today, just testing out my new camera. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Let me know some ways that you're going to make yourself a little bit more uncomfortable. I highly recommend taking a freezing cold shower after watching this video. I took one this morning and it always feels so good. Feels bad while you're doing it, but after it feels so good. And remember to subscribe. I'm going to be posting some more videos like this that are going to give you some tips and true nuggets of wisdom. And these aren't just simple tips that I'm giving you. These are high-level changes that you can make for your entire life. So apply some of the things I told you here, and we will see you in my next video. Cheers.